What is up, guys? Welcome back to part 2 of the HX35 turbo rebuild and reinstallation on the 24 valve Cummins. I am currently waiting for the exhaust elbow and exhaust housing to finish drying, hitting it with a couple coats of satin clear so that it will have a tiny shine to it, nothing crazy, but it won't just have that flat black look and look boring. It'll look at least a little presentable and nice. If I'm going the distance to try and clean things up, then I want it to at least look like I tried to clean it up. I don't want it to just look flat and boring. So that's what's going on right now. I'm just waiting for that stuff to dry. Also working on trying to clean up this side of the engine bay just a little bit, so I'll go ahead and show you that a little. There was just a lot of like crusty, scaly paint flaking on the side here from back when it was brand new, so I went and like scraped some of that off, what I could reach anyways, without pulling all this stuff off of there. Obviously the only true way to go and clean this up is to dismantle everything, probably pull the thing right out and go to town on it and get it degreased and painted. But I figured that you're not really going to see much of the lower half once the turbo is installed and you're looking in here, so if I could at least try to maybe get the upper portion somewhat cleaned up, maybe throw a little bit of paint on there just to make it look a little bit more presentable than this. That's what I'm trying to do. I did hit it with a little bit of purple power just to try and get some of the oil and residue and greasy crap off of this upper portion, because I am going to spray it with a little bit of paint just to not hopefully have this look here. Maybe start to add a few color accents underneath here, just to, like I said, have it looking a little bit nicer. So I am also waiting for this to dry because I've already sprayed it down with the hose. I'm gonna bring the air compressor out here and just blast it with some air to blow any other loose debris out of there, and then go ahead and probably hit the exhaust manifold with a little bit of exhaust paint like we did the exhaust housing to the HX35, and maybe just carry that paint on down and hit all this up around here. Just spray all of this crap through here basically. So far this is what the elbow and exhaust housing are looking like, so it's not that much of a shine. Just a satin clear gives it a little bit of a shine, and it doesn't make it like stand out too crazy, but it does definitely make it look a little bit nicer than having just a flat black on there. So that's what we're waiting on right now. I do have to do a couple other coats on that, and then we can start to put all of this back together. I didn't do anything else with the actual bearing housing here. That still looked good from the paint that I put on it before, and you don't really see that anyways because it's pinched in between the compressor housing and the exhaust housing, so I'm not too worried about that. It looks 100 times better than it originally did, but this thing definitely feels better now. There is no slop in the shaft like there was before we took it apart, so it definitely seems to be an improvement, and I can't wait to just get it put back together and on the truck so that this project is done and we can move on to the next one. I'm still debating whether or not I should go ahead and do something with the compressor housing as far as color goes. I don't know yet, because there might be something different coming as far as turbos go for the Cummins, so I'm not sure what I want to do with this yet, because this is eventually going to turn into a backup turbo or maybe even a primary turbo. That is all we are gonna do for this side of the engine bay. Just basically wanted to go and spray over everything with a little bit of black. I didn't do where the oil filter goes and stuff like that, a couple little things, but the bulk of it, exhaust manifold and everything, I figured even though the exhaust manifold is old and pitted and just worn and beat up looking, the black still tie it all in and make it blend in, make it look a little bit better than it did. So I think that it does look better, even though it's not a full-on professional pull the engine out and do it proper type of job. It still looks better than it did before. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Am I smoking dope, or does it look a little bit cleaner? And I'm not made of glass. I can handle some honesty, so don't be afraid to be honest. Let me know what you really think. We got the 24 valve Cummins all buttoned back up, guys. Everything is tightened down. The new nut that I needed to get for that lower manifold stud where the manifold flange meets the HX35 flange was indeed an M10 by 1.5, so that worked, and I did put a lock washer behind it. I am going out right now to pick up some other hardware, so we are actually going to get back under the hood of this tomorrow and switch some of these bolts and these fasteners up so that hopefully we don't run into any trouble with them again. Our oil feed is snug, our oil drain is tight, everything is tightened up. After we run it this one time out to the store and back, then I will do a hot, like a retorque after it's been hot and warmed up a little to make sure that everything is snug back down and torqued to where it needs to be while hot. But this is gonna be the moment of truth. How is the HX35 gonna perform after another fresh rebuild when we run out to the store right now? Let's find out. It is on this night of July 14th, roughly 8:30 p.m. that I bring the sad news to you. The 24 valve Cummins is still making that whining noise. I don't know what the hell is going on with this thing, man. The fresh rebuild kit from Turbo Lab of America went in. It's good. There wasn't too much play and wiggle of the shaft or anything. So I honestly, at this point, I'm a little stumped. I don't know what else it could be. I'm gonna continue to look at stuff. I did mention once before about a small, and when I say small, I mean tiny, dude. This is a very small crack in the one intercooler boot that I have. I don't know if that tiny little hole, that little crack hole, whatever you want to consider it, since it's a higher volume and we're getting more boost from the HX35 than we were the HY35, I don't know if that air volume that's traveling down through the elbow off the compressor housing and straight through that boot that has the crack through the hot side pipe into the intercooler, I don't know if it's enough air to make that whistle or whine or whatever this noise is. It is like a low whining tone, not your spooling sound. I don't know, I had this thought that maybe it was the passenger side wheel bearing, because you know we already did ball joints, wheel bearing, and U-joint in the driver's side axle shaft. I didn't do the passenger side because passenger side was still good. Wheel bearing though, the ball joints are good, I should say. Wheel bearing, probably I am gonna have to get to that and replace that and just do the ball joints, everything, so that it's on the same page as the driver's side. But I feel like if it was a bad wheel bearing that was making this whining, humming sound, it would be more constant. And I'm getting this noise around like 1800 RPMs. The turbo is already starting to spin, but when it really starts to light up and kick in and start to really spool and create some boost is when I'm starting to hear this low frequency whining noise. The Cummins truck wasn't doing it before I put the HX35 turbo on. It's just been doing it for these last 2 weeks, so I don't know at this point what it is. I guess I reach out to you guys. Have you ever had anything like this? Do you have any suggestions, some things that I should look at and check? At this point, it's looking like more and more I am going to have to probably make a purchase and get a different turbo sent here probably pretty soon in the near future. So you guys can look forward to something probably showing up and something new going on the truck here, because if it is something to do with the turbo, I don't know if it's just a bad bearing housing, if it's bad exhaust housing, but I certainly don't want to get new parts and just throw parts and money at this thing in hopes that something will stick and fix the issue. So if I can't pinpoint it 100%, then we're just probably gonna end up buying a new turbo, see what that does, and just I don't know, but I'm looking for some suggestions of other things that I should look at, so I should check, and hopefully maybe we can pinpoint it, we can straighten it out, and maybe not go the route of a new turbo just yet. But either way, I'd like to have a little bit more oomph under here. I'm honestly just a little bummed out because I really wanted to do some video series of the HX35 with the 125 horsepower injectors, doing it with like using the edge comp box on different settings, putting it through different scenarios, just putting it through its paces, and just kind of see what it could do, what it would hold up to, and how it responded to different things. And it doesn't really look like I'll be able to do that for you guys, so I apologize for that, unless we can come up with a solution and I can get it straightened out and fixed. But we'll just we'll see what we can do. That is gonna do it for this video though. Just the update of what the truck was doing. I'll take it for another ride. I had the family with me tonight, so I really couldn't get too much filming done while I was driving, but I'll take it for another spin tomorrow in the afternoon or something, and we'll get the noise recorded on camera so you guys can hear it. But otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next video. As always, hit that like button on your way out. If you're stopping in for the first time, you're new here, hit that subscribe button, join the family, and yeah, see you tomorrow. Peace. I just wanna